Is artificial intelligence really learning 8th grade science or just merely counting words? Hi everybody, Karen Rovey here with ZDNet, and we're bringing in Tiernan Ray to talk about this. So Tiernan, just tell us more first about what researchers at the Allen Institute are learning.
Well, Karen, there is something called the Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence. There's a whole institute devoted to this. And you may know that there was a guy named Paul Allen who, along with Bill Gates, founded Microsoft decades ago. And he's passed away, but before he did, he set up this institute in Seattle, Washington called the Allen Institute. And one of the neat projects that they've been trying to work on with artificial intelligence for about 6 years now is, can a machine be taught to answer multiple choice questions? And they've been getting grades 8 through 12 Regents exams. These are state certified exams that kids have to take on subjects. They have math, they have English, they have science. So they've been focusing on science. The problem has been, can a machine answer science questions, multiple choice? And they hadn't done so well. So for most of this time, they've been working on it. They got like 60%, and they get a failing grade on these tests. And then just within the last year, they made substantial progress, and they can now offer this computer program. It's actually a combination of computer programs that can get about 92% on 8th grade science. And on 12th grade Regents exams, they get about 80%. So sudden surge in the accuracy of this computer program predicting answers. And had a big New York Times article in conjunction with this on Wednesday saying, wow, so like now a computer program can do 8th through 12th grade science.
Interesting, Tiernan. All right, so why this surge? Why do we go from nearly 60% to getting closer to the A range?
It's kind of like if a student looked over at the really smart kid in the class and took some lessons from them. There's this company called Google, you may have heard of. And Google's done a lot of research in recent years where they build these huge programs that can ingest gigabytes of data, like from the internet, from Wikipedia, collections of articles, newspaper articles. And by scouring through all this text data, the computer can create kind of a map of how words occur in conjunction with each other. So if you just surveyed all of Western language and said, how many times does the word the appear in a sentence? You become an expert about predicting, is the going to be in the next sentence? So the Allen Institute took these programs. One of them is called BERT. A lot of them have Sesame Street names. And they adopted this and they suddenly added it to what they had been doing. And they found, wow, instead of building these programs that just kind of like search through text to see is there an answer about a science question, what if we just like knew everything about the Regents and how words appear together? So like, for example, if we knew Einstein often appears close to an equation E equals mc squared, wow, if we had a question about like, what theory did Einstein come up with? And one of the answers said E equals mc squared, boom, we could guess, not really knowing much about Einstein or about energy, we could guess like, okay, that answer probably with the equation, we've seen those words together, that must be the answer to the question.
So Tiernan, why should people care? What could be next?
There's two answers to that, Karen. One is you should not care that a machine is smarter than you or your child in 8th grade science, because as we said, this is looking at text occurrences. It's kind of like if you crammed all of the material and you still didn't know anything about science, but you just know pretty well where words fit together in text. It's not like it understands science. Probably your 8th grader could actually cruise through a lot of the semester and then cram on the last day. If they're really smart, they would actually figure out answers to questions. This program can't do that. It needs to spend all this time looking at text. So it's not that they've built a thing that really thinks about science, but what they have done is built a thing that you could plug into, you know, the human resources system in a company and say, like, you call in and you need your badge replaced, you know, one of those ID badges. If the system understands, oh, badge comes up when you have this replacement issue for an employee, then you could automate the task of saying, we're going to send you a new badge, something like that. So it has a lot of applicability for business software, for things that are routine, where a lot of the language is the same. You know, I have a problem with my laptop. The system says, okay, 9 times out of 10, that means the employee broke the laptop. Sometimes it means there's a password issue, and it could start to automate some of these things. And we're already seeing some of that in business that sort of takes it to another level.
So, Tiernan, what are the researchers thinking? Is there a chance that AI could eventually master 8th grade science?
A lot of the people at the Allen Institute and elsewhere are still on this quest to develop a computer that would think or understand the way you and I might mean that. So they're not going to give up in that quest. And what they're probably going to do is bring in lots of tools from other parts of computer science and psychology and try to add to this language understanding maybe some models about the world. Like, for example, if you had a causal model of what happens when friction builds up on a surface and then you get a flame, the thing might understand something about fire. If you could explain something about Einstein's world, why energy is equal to mass times the square of the speed of light, then you could start to actually build a model of the world into some of these computer programs, and maybe you would get closer to something you'd call understanding. We're a long ways from that, practically speaking, but you could expect that some of these kinds of models of the world will start to show up in some of these programs down the road.
Some interesting research there, Tiernan. Thank you so much for that. If you'd like to read more on Tiernan's article, make sure you check out ZDNet.